All right, Mike. So talking about the state tournament, then I'm going to pull up that 67. There was something that came to mind. I had a video of it, but I didn't have it here. Was back in the day, goaltenders when you hit a penalty, you're talking about your goalie. The goaltenders could go up past the red line and screen the other goalie. And I saw that, and I'm like, what? So people today can't relate to that. There was some different rules back then. So can you talk a little about that? That was unusual to see that, and I think you said the rule changed after that or something like that.
Yeah, well, I can remember bits and pieces of that and when it started, but I think I have to give credit to Grant Stanbrook, who came down from Winnipeg. He was a coach at Greenway the year before, the year I was a ninth grader. And he did that. He started that. He said, "What the heck, I mean, why wait for the player? Just go down and skate down the other end." The goalie sprinted down the other end. Of course, he had to stay on side. And then when we got in there, he stood in front of their goalie. I don't know if it worked all the time. I don't know if it was a good idea, but like I said, sometimes he'd block our shots, standing there in front of the net. So it was, yeah, people saw it. They couldn't believe it. And then I don't know when it changed. I think it changed. It had to be after I left school. So it had to be early 70s, maybe, when they changed the rule and restricted them from going all the way down and standing from the goalie. They restricted them to the red line. So, yeah, that was kind of humorous. We were hoping to get Billy Pie Joy a goal there. I don't know if any of them ever scored a goal. I can't remember. I can't recall them doing it, but that would have been cool too. So,
But just to see that, I mean, I'm sure in modern day, there's probably a few goalies who wanted to do it too. I know, remember Marty Brodeur, obviously with the Devils, he sure could handle a puck. Or Ronnie Hextall, it's a figure, or even from up north, Rob Stauber, he was wanting to play the puck a little bit. So, those guys, they would probably love to cross the red line, but can't do that anymore. So I want to go back to that state tournament again in '67 because that was the first one. So that game we were talking about, the Hibbing game, you squeaked by them. That was regulation. It wasn't overtime, right? That when you beat them
right.
4-3 here.
Yep. Yep.
Okay. Okay. And then the Johnson game. The Johnson game. They were. I don't remember were they undefeated that year going into
I
the tournament
think,
because they were the power.
I think they were. Yep. I think they were in it.
Okay.
I don't know, but I think that, yeah, I remember reading something about they were undefeated. And, yeah, I'll tell you, we didn't know, but like I said, I think quietly in the locker room, we all knew we were pretty good and we were good enough to win. And with our goaltending and the players we had, I never really thought much. I always figured when the game started, I just worried about one thing, just going to get the puck and making plays and scoring goals if that happened, and winning the hockey game. And I think Terry Del Monte was really good in goal for Johnson that game, and Peltier twins were her brothers. They were good. I mean, they had a good, solid team too. And I think, yeah, I mean, you win games with some luck. Uh,
Sure.
Maybe it was our side, our time to win. But the difference between our team and those teams were minuscule. But once you get on a roll and you start winning, it's contagious. And we had that kind of thing going on most of the year. We didn't lose many games. So, yeah, I'm glad we got by that one. That was probably one of the I don't know, biggest moments of my career because it was a bunch of renegades and jokers from different towns on the Iron Range got together and played on one team, and nobody gave us a chance to win, and I'll be damned if we didn't win. So
Wow.
it was
That's
exciting.
it's something. Yeah, it's something to make. Much less make it there. Back in the day, there was only one class, right?
Yeah, yeah,
But to win it all, and being from the range, a small school, and going up against the perennial power there in the metro area, the Governors back in the day. I mean, that was quite an accomplishment. They had some pretty damn good players with the Peltiers, to name a couple players that he eventually went on to play with. So
yeah.
I'm going to throw up here now. Let's go up to this was I think '68. This squad here. There's another picture of you guys in '68. But I joke about it because and here they had the nicknames, and I see that there's Stinky Mike Stinky Antonovich. I know.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of funny because you told me the story before we got going, but tell back in the day, and even today, some arenas don't have the showers. But is that why they called you stinky? Because you just got out of there? You said you didn't want to shower and you wanted to get home?
Yeah, yeah, that's the. Yeah, I'll tell you what. Yeah, I wasn't going to freeze because it was cold out, and if you know what kind of clothes we had for winter clothes in the early '60s, it wasn't many, and we had to jump on the bus and stuff. So it was. Yeah, everybody had a nickname. Some of the guys I still don't know their real names. It's amazing, but yeah, I don't know who put that in there, but I get that every once in a while. That's okay. You know what? uh, I've always had good memories about this hockey and playing in this town. Yeah, somebody will every once in a while shout that out. I just shake my head. It is what it is.
Yeah, yeah, well, I mean, good memories. We talk about hockey. I mean, the memories we make and the relationships we make. And if you talked about Coach Jernan, or just as a person that influenced you, and you look back at some of the coaches who were big influences on people in life, not just the game. That's why hockey's a different breed. Hockey's different. We have such a culture, and that's what's so great about it, in my opinion. That's why I love doing interviews like this. So I was going to pull up a couple things here too from those tournaments, and one of which is the 68 and 69 all tournament team. Look at some of those names on that there. When you look at the 68 team, you're up there. We got Earl Anderson played in the show. There's you, Brad Buto. There's Casey from your team there. Um, there's Peltier. I mean, Mike Lumbum, Lawson. Some great names there. And it's just amazing when I think of it, the names that played in these tournaments and you're part of, and to be able to say that you played with some of these guys and went on to bigger and better things. And then we got 69. I want to bring that one up too. There's some good ones in there as well. Of course, yourself, but that's the war. That's the year you guys took consolation, and Henry was there right next to you, and Earl Anderson, along with Hank Slavin. He played in the show as well.
Yep.
So, can you talk about some of the guys that, that year you guys didn't win it, but I mean, just to be there and play in the tournament against guys that you see here. Can you talk about Henry, for instance? Because that was the year that there was a bit of controversy. I was just, a little guy. But that can you talk about that controversy?
Yeah, I think we had played Warroad. Warroad had a good hockey team, but the two best players were Hank Slavin and Henry Boucher. And yeah, I mean, Henry was the guy. I mean, he was big and strong and could skate and handle a puck. He was one of the best players I've ever seen in this state, and that's all the scouting I did and all the years I've been in this game. He's one of the best players I've ever seen. And the accident or the check that happened with Jimmy Knutson and Henry behind the net. People got mad, thought it was intentional. I don't really know. I played with Jimmy at the University of Minnesota. And, I think that when you're playing this game and you're out there and you're going 20 some miles an hour, 30, and you run somebody into the boards, anything can happen. You can get hurt at any time. That was a very unfortunate thing because Henry was kind of the darling of the state tournament and that team. So disappointed that he did get hurt. But Warroad took Edina into overtime when Henry was out of the lineup, and Hangslayman was a big part of that too. And Warroad had a outstanding team. I think we played them twice during the year at Greenway, and I don't recall, but I think we won both games. But those guys, yeah, it was unfortunate, and but people got to see Henry. That's what was good about the state tournament. People got to see a lot of the best players. They didn't get to see a lot of the best players too because they didn't make it there. But I that's what that state tournament was all about. I thought, it was about the players coming in and laying it all on the line, win, lose, or draw. I mean, we lost in the first round. We won 2 in a row. We should have won 3 in a row, in my opinion. We didn't get the goaltending we needed on my senior year, but we had a really good team that year. Tommy Peluso, myself, I can name a bunch of those guys. Bobby Lynch, young guys, juniors in high school and stuff. And when you run into a hot goalie, you run into a hot goalie, and we did. And I'll tell you what, I can remember the goal that was scored to beat us. I can remember the feeling when we got beat. I still remember that. And it still isn't any sweeter. It's still bitter. But that's what made hockey so good, so wonderful to play. I mean, you could get all the breaks and win, and you could get none and lose. And whether you were the best team or the next best team, and the people who win the state tournament are the best team. That's the way it
Well,
is. And you can talk about everything, a bad break and stuff like that, but at the end of the day, you got to win the big game. And that's the only game we lost in the state tournament was to Sault Ste. Paul. But we got a kind of a bad break in that one too, because we had to play Sault Ste. Paul and we just kicked the snot out of them the year before in the finals. We beat them 6-1. I mean, actually, we just hammered them. And who do we draw in the first round? Sault Ste. Paul. No, did that have anything to do with why we lost? I don't know, but I think they were geared up to play us because we're defenders. It's a couple of years in a row. Not many teams won 3, so yeah, those are the memories. But they're good memories. I mean, the losses, yeah, you still think about them, but I think that state tournament in Minnesota was one of the, and still is one of the greatest spectacles around. And people in Minnesota are I mean, to me, they've been great. You know, I would say that
absolutely.
I got a
So
lot of, go
good
ahead.
memories, and I'm sure just
Oh yeah.
awesome memories. So I'm gonna pull up this picture again because this was that he's talking about '69 losing, but there's the senior picture. You were the captain that year, the old helmet and the glasses. I had to throw that one up again. But in that same tournament, you also there you go. State tournament leading scorer Mike Antonovich from Greenway Kohler had 7 goals and 1 assist in that tournament, '69. So not too bad. Not too bad. May not
No,
have won it, but you ended up being
well, you get a lot of breaks along the way too. You know, I just happen to be in the right place at the right time. But yeah, I mean, I said, for me in the state tournament, I mean, I have a lot of great memories. The people have been nice to me and complimented me, and always grateful for that. But you know, you got 20 guys on your team, you know, and the periods were so short. It was hard to get back in the game sometimes with 12-minute periods. But
that's just
not,
that's still I mean, what do they play 17 now? I mean, eventually maybe they'll go 20, but
yeah,
12 minutes is that's only a couple of shifts really when you get down to it with the guys you
yeah.
got.
And it goes in a hurry when you're trailing late in the game. So, but I mean, as far as the state tournament and high school hockey, for me, I I don't know. I only good things to say. Good things to say about the people I played against. Good things to say about the teams and the friends I've made. And yeah, I mean it's all good. I mean, win or lose. I mean, get there or don't get there. It doesn't matter. You know, you just you enjoy it, play it, love it, and move on. I mean, I still play hockey. I still play twice a week because I love the game. And I'm kind of a screwball anyway,
You should
but
have
I'll
been a
tell you.
goalie then if you're kind of a screw. You should have been a goalie if you're kind of a screwball, Mike, huh? Because we're
But
good
I mean, even the
screwballs.
guys I in senior hockey now. I mean, some guys have never played. Some guys, high school play. Who cares? Nobody cares. You just play. You enjoy it. It's hockey, and like you said, it's a special. Hockey's a special business, and the people around it are special. So, I no more, no less. I had fun playing the game. I wouldn't trade it for anything. Would I change a few things? Sure. I mean, that's life, but
Yeah, yep.
no, it's a game, and you play it because you love to play the game. It's only a game. It's not more than that either. It's not bigger than anything. It's just part of it. So for me,
You
I got no regrets.
you can talk about it's just a game. It is, sometimes it seems like it's life and death, but it's just a game. We wake up the next day, sun still comes up, win or lose, but with some of those memories. You talk about playing, still playing. I remember when he since passed away up in Duluth there. It was in Certus. Didn't he play until he was like into his 90s? He was still skating.
98.
That's amazing,
Yeah, it's
isn't
crazy.
it?
I don't think I'm going to make it that long.
I remember skating with Tommy Younghands in the crew in St. Louis Park, I think it was, and their goalie was Jack Almquist. Jack was still playing goal, and he was getting up there in years too. So, yeah, yeah, it's in the blood. But I don't think my body allows me to skate anymore with the hips and the knees, and I took a little wear and tear, but
Well, and that's
that's why I do this.
yeah, and I'm pretty fortunate that I can still do it. I mean, I'm able to still do it, and I think that uh, sometimes we let it go too fast, where it's not I'm too old or I'm too this. No, I mean it's enjoyable. It's fun for me. I hope that I can keep doing it until they tell me it's time to see the next journey. But yeah,
As
hockey's
Lefty
hockey.
calls it, we'll be doing it. We'll be playing in the big rink in the sky, all of us again someday. Playing in
Well,
the big rink in the sky.
the other thing about that too is, I've had an opportunity to skate with my grandsons. Uh, uh, Not only practice, but they come over and play in the senior league that I play in every once in a while, the older ones. I get to skate with my great grandson. Who would have ever thunk that? But so, I
Wow,
mean, those are the things that are important to me. And that's why I do it. I love kids. I love to be around kids. I love hockey. I like to monkey around. I'm probably not the most serious guy, but that's okay. I mean, I've never been, I just love to be around kids, and I love to watch hockey. Watch my grandsons, my great grandsons, girls play sports. That's all. That for me is priceless. So, uh, yeah, hockey's been good to me, really good to me.
oh, that's good. That's good. Let me, I don't know what the heck happened earlier because I lost the beginning of this, but I ended up finding it. I want to throw it up. I hope you don't mind. Just a minute clip, a little grainy, but I want to show it because people need to see it. Um, at 67, I won't show the goalie round coming up, but this is about a minute clip here. So, see if she works and bring back some memories as well because I think there's a goal in here.
Into the neutral zone, 21 seconds, 20 seconds, 17 seconds. There's an open net down the way. Antonovich after it. He shoots. Scores! It's now 4-2. 10 seconds left. There'll be bedlam on the ice right after the game. And we'll go out and pick it up with our cameras. You'll be able to see it all. Well, they pulled the goalie. Lou Contronio going for broke, as they say. Now they got 6 skaters out there. They haven't given up yet. And that's the kind of game this is. There's a save by Joy. 5 seconds left. 4 seconds left. Greenway will be the new champions, and that's the end of the game. Greenway wins its first state championship. Third year of trying as Johnson goes down to its...
So I thought I'd play that clip now that I got her going. I don't know what the heck happened to the laptop earlier, but just looking at that, I don't know if you could hear or not, but looking at that, what kind of memories does that bring back to you? I mean, when you see that old clip over 50, that's an old clip. That's
Yeah,
58 years old.
yeah, that's scary, and that's the only clip they have of us guys in the state tournament is that tournament thing. So, yeah, I mean, you see it. I got a tape of it myself, the whole game and stuff, but things just come rushing back at you when you see that because you don't for our community and for the players and for the parents and everybody. I mean, what a great moment for Coleraine and Greenway High School. I mean the parade. I mean the people were so excited. They were more, and I'm sure it was the whole Iron Range because that's the way they are. The people up here, the whole Iron Range was happy that Greenway won that year. Whatever they think, Hibbing may be disappointed, but everybody who went down there from the Iron Range throughout the years have had support from the Iron Range, and that really hits you, because like I said, there are so many teams that could have represented the Iron Range that never got down there, and if you got there, people cared, and not only from Coleraine, but all the towns along the range, Hibbing, Gilbert, Aurora, International, all of them. I think they were rooting for the North, and that was a nice part of that tournament. the little guys were coming. So made it a lot more fun. It was enjoyable.
Yeah, and I think like we talk about that. It's like the northern teams. It seems like when there's a northern team in the tournament, they always it's like the David and Goliath stories now. I mean, now they got double A and single A, but back in the day, it was like, okay, when Henry was playing, for Ward, you guys were there. They cheered for the small town. I mean, that's just it's mixed for legendary stories. And you guys won it in '67. That was amazing. Then again in '68 and '69, that's you bumped into a team there. You got beat, but going for the three-peat, hell, it's tough enough winning two, much less three in a row for Pete's sakes. But quite an experience to see you play on three state tournament teams there. To be able to say 1-2, not bad. And then of course the '69, you were the tournament leader in scoring. Now after high school hockey, I mean, how did you? I want to throw a picture here of you here, and this is with the Gophers. Look at that strapping young skater there
Yeah.
with the Gophers jersey on. How did you end up, being from the range? I'm always curious when I see guys, like when I was talking to Buzzy, and and everybody, I say, how do you end up in Minnesota versus not going to Duluth, or maybe even up to North Dakota? How did that story? Can you talk about how you ended up playing at the University of Minnesota?
Well, it was because of one guy. It was because of Glen Sonmor. Glen Sonmor came up to Coleraine and I think I met him. The first time I met him was in 10th grade. I met him in a hallway in Coleraine. He was up recruiting, I think, one of our players. I'm not sure which one it was, but I was introduced to him, and he just, from the day I saw him until the day he passed away, I mean, he was where I was going.
Okay.
It was just one of those guys that he was like Bob Jernander. You got to have people that believe in you and trust you. And right away, Glenn, I mean, even from day one when I got there, treated me, I mean, he didn't give me anything. I had to earn it, but he knew what kind of person I was. And he just let you play. And if you played hard, you were in good graces with Glenn. And I played hard. But this guy's, he's one of the, between him and Bob Jernander, both of them are my kind of people. And Glenn was a friend of mine for 50 years. And they called me his grandson or his son, the son he never had or something, but it didn't matter. We had a bond there, and he was a guy, but Duluth was always a place where I really wanted to go because I wanted to play baseball. I wanted to play baseball. I was, but Duluth didn't have a baseball program. And so I went to the U. I was going to play baseball at the U too, but eligibility got in my way. School got in my way, but that's just part of growing up too, and I wasn't disciplined enough to want to do it. I just really wanted to play hockey. I didn't really go to school to study and learn anything. I just wanted hockey.
Sounds like a few other guys I interviewed. I know one of my coaches in high school. Sounds like Hokinson when he was down at the U talking about, I'm here to play hockey. School? Yeah.
So I mean,
education.
and Sonmor was my kind of guy, and Sonmor went through some stuff, and I went through some stuff, comparable stuff, and just was. He was one of those guys that cared about people too. He cared about everybody. He tried to help everybody, and I just think both those guys are wonderful people. Glenn would do anything for you. Bob would. I think I got a little bit of that in me too. So, but good people, I mean, good choices I made, I think, and ran into a couple of guys we played with in the state tournament, so that was fun too. Played on the same team.
Well, yes. Speaking of that, let's talk about that on those squads you played. Some of the players you played with, because you did played against the Peltiers, and then weren't they on your squads at the University of Minnesota when you went to the U?
I played with the Dougie and Ronnie Peltier, Frankie Sanders, Craig Sarner, Jimmy Knutson, Mike Hastings. All those guys played in the state tournament, and they went to the U, and we ended up being teammates. and still see those guys once in a while, not very often. But I'll tell you a quick story about Ronnie and Dougie Peltier.
Please do.
We were playing at the U, and Greenway had got back in the state tournament. Tommy Peluso and that group got back in the state tournament in 1970. Well, we were leaving to play in Michigan, and Johnson was playing Greenway. Well, they went into overtime. That's when Dougie Long made 60-some stops or something, stolen it.
Yes.
So anyway, me being me, I'm chirping at Dougie and Ronnie because Greenway's going to beat Johnson, right? So we put a bet on the game, and then so we get to Michigan, and we get to the hotel room, and I call my dad. I said, "Dad, who won the game, Greenway or Johnson?" He goes, "Greenway." Well, I went right down, knocked on Ronnie and Dougie's door, and of course my lips were moving. So they paid me off right away. So the next morning I wake up, I come down to breakfast, and both of them are coming at me, and I'm going, "What the hell? What are they doing?" Right? They were yelling at me, swearing at me, and I go, "What are you talking about?" Well, Johnson had won the game. It's 4 overtimes or something, right? My dad didn't even know.
Well, he just automatically said. He assumed.
So I ate crow the whole time. Yeah. So, but those guys were great guys. I mean, Ronnie has been really successful, and Dougie the same, and Frankie Sanders. What a gentle guy that guy was, and Sarner. I got nothing. Wally Oles was there. Bruce McIntosh. I mean, those are good people, but they treated me just like, and I came in there, I was a, small little guy, they're looking at me like, where do you find this guy at? And, but after a while, I mean, they just treated me just like one of the guys. So I'm very fortunate for that. So, and we're still good friends. I see Bruce and I see some of those guys every once in a while. So that experience at the University of Minnesota was right up there. I just didn't, if I really had one regret, it'd probably be not finishing school, not putting a little more time and work in it. But at the end of the day, I was 17 years old going to college, and I mean, I didn't know anything about nothing, and I sure as hell didn't know anything about. I never thought I'd play a day out pro hockey. I thought I was coming home, working the mines, and playing for the Taconite Hornets and drinking beer. That's what I wanted to do, really, because of the job. The job was good. So different things happened along the way, and then I got drafted and went from there. So
Everything happens for a reason. So there's 2 other names I wanted to bring up. See what, because one was Herbie. He was a coach or assistant coach. Was he at the U when you were there?
Herbie was the freshman coach when I was there.
Okay.
At
So
that time, the first year I was at the University of Minnesota, freshmen were eligible to play varsity hockey. That was the first year, and Herbie was the freshman coach, assistant coach / assistant coach, and he was there both years I was there, and he didn't go. I think he left Gopher hockey when I started my sophomore year. I got hurt right away. I was done, but he left, and Glen Sonmor, I think, left for the WHA that year, and then Kenny Yackel came in for a half interim year, and then they hired Herbie the next year. I was already gone. I was playing in St. Paul with the Saints, so I never really played for him, but I knew him,
Okay, I just saw the name. So there's one other guy who was a character in a movie that was a goalie. I don't think he played many games, but do you remember Ronnie Dokken? Ronnie Dokken, can you discuss him a little bit? Because, the guy never was, he wasn't the main goalie in Slapshot, but what kind of stories you got about him?
Ronnie Dokken. Well, the goalie at Minnesota was Murray McLaughlin at that time. He's All-American from Toronto, Canadian guy. Great goalie. But Dokken was a good goalie. I mean, all he did was come to practice. He worked his hind end off. Funny guy too. I mean, all we did was laugh. I mean, he was one of the funniest guys I met in my life. But he just got the short end of the stick because McLaughlin was the best goalie in the country. I mean, it is what it is, right? And you couldn't transfer out or say I'm going through this portal or that portal anymore. You were there, and Ronnie, I give him all kinds of credit for what he went through and what he did. And he played some games when I was there, like in the tournaments, Christmas tournaments and stuff. But as far as a person and everything, I mean, how can you got ability to play, and you're playing behind this guy, and you aren't going to get much. But he never complained. He never bitched. He was just like one of the guys the whole time I was there. And then he played slap shot in Johnstown with the Johnstown Jets. He played a couple of years in the minor leagues. I know maybe a few more than that. But I'd see Ronnie off and on. He's in bad shape right now. He had a stroke and stuff, but he's doing
Sorry to hear that.
But yeah. But I mean, that's life. That it goes on, I mean, every once in a while now you get a phone call and somebody's going, But
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
it's unfortunate. We all go to dust. We all go to dust someday. We know that, but that's why I like doing these stories, because people don't know all. Some of these hockey legends, hockey icons here in Minnesota, and I'm appreciative of sitting down with you. But I just had to bring up Ron because I remember him in Slapshot. He had no scene where he put I don't know what it was, his glove over his mask and over his face, and he's just one of
you
those
would
guys, character.
you
Um,
would
so let's I showed the picture of you at the U, and then I showed the picture in high school, and I did plop this up. Now the picture I showed here with Glenn, was that at the U, or no? That's got to be the WHA picture with the Saints, correct? That
That's
picture there.
yeah.
Okay, so speaking of that, now we got to start doing a little Saints talk, and we're gonna try to get going here because I know you got to hit the links here. This picture that you said you want to burn. What's the story behind that one? That's no afro. That's some hockey hair there, Mike. That's some definitely hockey hair going on there. You'd be in the all hockey tournament team at the university, that state tournament there.
That picture was taken. We didn't know they were going to do any of this. I put them on a bubble gum card or whatever you call it, So that was one rough night coming back into practice the next morning. So every once in a while, you had a few too many.
Well, you had a few. Yeah, what's the say back in the day? You had a few pops. I know what that is.
You get in early in the morning. So they called us in this room and they were taking pictures, and I didn't know. I thought they were taking for like the yearbook, or you know what I mean. I didn't pay any attention. I just wanted to get the hell out of there because I want to get on the ice. So never thought much about it. And then I don't know, a couple of years later, maybe 3 or 4, somebody showed me that picture. I said, here they put it on the bubble gum. What? I didn't even comb my hair. I don't think I look like I was. So I've been trying to burn it, and that's the one that comes more. Oh yeah, I just. It's amazing. It is what it is. But I'll tell you what, I get that card.
No,
I get that card sent to me more than any card.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, maybe some Saints fans will see that. No.
Yeah, they love the hair, right? But if they put a nicer picture on there, it would be better, right? I don't know. But that thing, I laugh.
Yeah.
People laugh at that picture. I go, well, you know what? It was the 70s, the late 60s, early 70s.
Yeah.
It was, and I had a lot of different hair.
It was the era of afros, wasn't afros, and getting into the disco era, kind of, the 70s, right?
Well, we played without helmet too. And now that ain't that. You played without a helmet if you want to. Well, I thought it was cool if I could play without a helmet and had all that hair, right? not very smart.
Let's talk about some stories with some of your Saints teammates. I know Lefty talked about it, but there was a guy by the name of Goldthorpe. He had quite the afro too. Were you around when he was playing? Got any stories from him?
Yeah. Him and Gordy Gallant. I would imagine Lefty talked about both of those guys, but yeah.
The nunchucks. He talked about nunchucks and something. He said, "Yeah, the first time you met him, it's a nunchucks incident in the locker room," and it was.
Yeah, he was scary. He was scary. He was on the edge. You really weren't sure what he was going to do. He was one of those guys. I think he was a good guy, but he just, he was. I thought he was crazy, but Gordy Gallant, Gordy Gallant, whatever he ended up doing, fighting Harry Neal and Hartford that year, all that stuff, and get kicked off the team and stuff. But, he was one of those guys too that, but if you were playing with him, he'd stand up and fight. He'd try to do the things they got him there for and do. He got to a point where it just blew a gasket when he got in that Harry Neal deal out in Hartford in the playoffs. People don't realize that how much pressure there is playing in a pro sport with somebody looking right over your shoulder all the time, waiting to take your spot, waiting to do and it could happen midway through the year or 10 games in the year. People just think it's a great game and you play it and you got all, but some guys didn't handle that very well, and that, and then the consequences they paid were trouble, or they were moved and they didn't put up with much of that. So it's a tough business, and some guys handle it better than others. And I know both parts of it because I was on both sides of it, because I was,
Sure.
There were a lot of things going on, but as far as playing, he was a good teammate, and Goldie, he was off. He was there only for a short period of time. He was just kind of playing crazy, I think. But I still had to respect him. He was my teammate. He'd fight if he had to fight for you and stuff. So those guys are necessary. We had other tough guys too that didn't get into the same streamline as those guys. We had, so it was kind of, I don't know what they're doing now, either one of them. I saw Gordy a couple of times when I was scouting. I got together with him, and he's doing pretty good. He got away from some of the stuff that causes problems and stuff. So those are good things. Those are good things, but I wish people wouldn't judge people because of what happens sometimes, because there's so many things going on that people don't know about. And it's a even now for those guys playing, holy moly. But it makes it a lot easier when you're making millions instead of hundreds.
I'm sure. But still, the problems are still there, whether you're, whether it's millions or hundreds, like you said. I'm going to throw up a picture here. There's many of them. I don't know, this was probably 73, 74, some of the squad there. I want you to comment on, in this one here, you're in here in the upper left, but the guy on the far left in the front there, I know he recently passed away. He was known as Cheech. Can you talk a little about how he was as a teammate in person? Yes.
Oh, he was the best. He is one of the best guys. I went to work with him every day. He lived up in the neighborhood I lived in when we were playing together and stuff. And, my wife was good friends with both him and his wife. And, he's another one of those guys, every day he had a smile on his face. Every day he loved to come to the rink. He was good humor, good family guy. I love Chi-Chi, but I rode with him, like I said, to practice and got to know him and watched his career, played against him, when he was in Birmingham, played with him in Hartford too. And he's just one of the good guys. And when I heard that, it just, it just hits you right in the guts. And, same age as I am, played a lot of games together, beautiful family. I don't know. As a player, great competitor, we'd stay out after practice and do breakaways and stuff. And some days I'd quit because I couldn't score, and other days he'd quit if he couldn't stop a beach ball. So we had a lot of fun together. Sad to lose him. He's he was in Vancouver doing those games and stuff for a long time.
Yeah. Came an icon out there in announcing.
Yeah, and he, and people loved him, and I can see why, because I spent that much time with him, and we're at that point now where we're all pretty vulnerable. So, you got to enjoy
exactly.
life. Just keep going.
No, Mike, I agree with you, and that's why you can't take it for granted. You don't know if tomorrow if it's there. I went through the C word here last year and a half ago, and I'm happy to be above ground. And you look at some of the other teammates you had. There was a guy there from the up north there, Christensen. You probably know Huffer, right? Did he play on the Saints with you as well?
Oh, I played with Huffer. I was good friends with Huffer. In fact, he was the guy kind of patterned myself after when he was in high school. I watched Huffer play. It's a little midget that was meaner than hell, right? So I wanted to be like Huffer. And then when I watched him at UMD, because I used to go down with my neighbor, used to bring me to the UMD Bulldog games, and loved to watch Huffer. And then I got a chance to play with Huffer, and I'll tell you, he was a great player, and he was tough to play against. He was mean too. He was mean during the game, but he had to survive. At that time, if you were small, you had to learn how to survive. And I miss him. I used to see him all the time in the summer and stuff, and I think he was a great friend of lefties too. So, I mean,
Yeah.
that's one good thing about hockey is the people you meet, you cross paths with. I mean, that's why I think I'm very fortunate. I've been able to meet a lot of people and cross a lot of different roads and stuff. But yeah, genuinely, those guys, yeah, Huffer was, yeah, he was
There's some
missed.
other guys in it. There's some guys on there that have since passed. But another player that comes to mind too, I know he had some interesting stories, meaning lefty when we talked about him was shaky, Mike Walton. That was another guy. I mean, you kind of giggle when I mention the name. So is there something behind that you can reveal that maybe Lefty didn't reveal, or you just I bring that name up? I'm like, oh,
I don't know, what to say about Shaky Walton. He was a great teammate. He was a great player. He had so many little things that he'd do that drive people nuts. But he was one of those guys that had to have everything perfect in his stall, his clothes, his hockey stuff, his in the hotel rooms, everything had to be perfect. And I mean, but he could play, and he was a good teammate. He was a really good teammate. And people don't give him credit for that, I think, because they always thought he was at center ice looking for a breakaway and stuff. But if you score 100 some points and 50 some goals, you can do what you want. We got plenty of other guys who can do nothing, that check and work and stuff and protect them. But Lefty, when he walked out of that game with his shoes on, his skates on, and just took off.
yeah.
But the
That's
people don't realize then too, we weren't getting paid. We played for nothing. We played for nothing. And
Let's talk about playing for the love of the game. That's for sure. When you're not getting paid, I mean, you must have really loved the game. That like anybody else said, screw this, I'm out of here. But no, you guys still played the games.
yeah, it was, and that was part of that time when we weren't getting paid and we didn't know what was going on. And, yeah, guys did some strange stuff, but what are you supposed to do? You're supposed to be getting paid. You're playing a game you love. You don't want to give it up. So, he was unique. I say that about Shaky. He's unique. I love the guy. I love him. He just,
That's that story definitely sticks out in my mind when we Lefty talked about it. And I remember hearing about it, watching some documentary on it, and seeing them talking about leaving with his skates, his old equipment on, and going down to the local establishment that he was known for, having a couple, and then going home with all his stuff on. That's a crazy story, but it's
yeah,
true.
yeah.
It's true,
Oh, yeah.
and that's the amazing.
It's
I was
part
going to
of
say,
it.
Mike, that's the amazing thing about that era and that time. And they look at the movie Slapshot, and you can maybe concur, but Lefty was saying, well, a lot of the stuff that we did, actually, that's what was in the movie. They kind of made the movie after us because crazy times and crazy teams.
Well, I think hockey was just more the game, just the game, and you loved the game and you wanted to play, and the money was. And I'm not saying that nowadays but it's different. I mean, you can't be like we were because of what they're paying you. You can't afford not to work out, not to be in shape, not to take care of yourself, not to, all that stuff, all the stuff, and just to even get there and how hard you got to work and everything. I don't know. I don't know if there were many of those guys in our league playing in that era I played in. There were some, and then they were starting to get more and more towards the end of my career and stuff. How much you had to work out, how much you had to take care of your body, lifting weights, making more money. I don't know. I just like to play the game. I just had fun playing
Yeah.
the game. The money was a bonus. I mean, I would have liked to have made more money, but it wasn't meant to be because it was the wrong era. But I think it's great these guys are getting paid because you don't play very long. The
No,
average player,
no.
about, I don't know what it is. It's under 3 years, I think, but for most people. And so you have a small window there to make a lot of money or have your career. You don't have any benefits of retirement or, I mean, all that stuff is not there. And people don't realize that. But
The saying
hockey
is make hay when you can make hay, right? Make hay when you can make hay, right?
yeah, and I mean, and some of the old guys are they're upset because of all the money they're getting paid and stuff. But that's just the nature of the beast. These guys earned it. They earn it. Yeah, but everybody helped along the way. Everybody who played helped along the way. So they ought to respect the game and respect the guys who played before you. And I'm not saying that those guys don't love the game like our generation, but I think I question that sometimes. I think,
Oh yeah, yeah.
but
Different era,
but that
different times, different,
yeah,
but
and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not upset. In fact, I'm glad they're making that money, but different world, different time, and I'm glad I played
let's
when I
just say
played.
let's just say this, Mike. It's pale in comparison to what other sports are making. I think the hockey gets the respect, and these guys are still making big money, but not compared to some of these other sports. So I know we kind of way to go. You got to hit the links here eventually, but I wanted to move ahead. Still in the WHA era. You hopped on, you moved over to this squad here, and I know that you played with a legendary player that everybody knows. And can you talk about the time you played there when Mr. Howe was on that squad? Can you tell me some stories about Mr. Hockey? I mean, that guy, he's a
Uh,
legend, and let's hear some stories.
yeah, I tell you, if you, I mean, I feel like I've been blessed because the guys I got to play with and stuff. But before I get to Hall, I'm going to mention a couple other guys that I really
Please do.
respect. Dave Keon and Johnny McKenzie with Fighting Saints and Davey Keon's a Hall of Famer. He's the Leaf captain, won Stanley Cups. I was his roommate when I was a young kid at 21 and stuff, and learned a lot from him. And just a classy individual, great player, taught me a lot about the game. Johnny McKenzie, another guy. We had three guys on that line that were under 5'9", and I just have a lot of respect for those guys because they treated me like I was a part of the deal. Here's a Minnesota kid, 5 foot nothing, playing with these two guys, and I'm going, oh. And I said that to Davey when I saw him. I think I went and saw him about 4 or 5 years ago, and I told him what an honor it was to play with them and thanked him, and he said the same thing back to me. I go, wow. So that was
That's pretty
probably the
cool.
best any compliment he could have gave to me was he was happy to be part of that line and stuff. So, but Gordie Howe, same thing. I mean, 50 years old. he he acted like a kid. He stopped and treated people like people. He signed autographs. It didn't matter how much time. Didn't matter how long the line was. Didn't matter where we were in the airports or anywhere. He was that kind of guy, and I just I got a chance to play on his line. I played on his line for a couple of years, and I don't know. I mean, he was kind of like, he was weird sometimes. You practice with him, and he'd elbow you in the chin or something just to give you a wake up call and just laugh. He would keep skating. I mean, he was just. I think he was a kid in a grown man's body because I mean, at 50 years old, and then he kind of embarrassed you, because a lot of the guys would leave the ice as soon as practice was over. Not him. So
Really?
I'd leave the ice and I'm going, what am I doing? If he's out here, why don't I come out here and stay out here and watch?
Yep.
So I'd stay out and he'd shoot pucks and I'd shoot pucks and he'd tip them and I mean, but he played the game hard. Don't touch his kids, he'd kill you. And touch it.
Yeah, I heard some stories about that. That's for sure.
And I mean, he did it, and that's just the way he was. I don't think he ever regretted doing it, but he was at 50, he was still as good as most guys. And
Yeah,
I just, you get a
it's
chance.
a test. It's a testament. It's a testament to say how good of a hockey player he was to be still playing the game and producing at that
Yeah.
age.
I
It's
mean, he
just
played in the
unbelievable.
NHL. Yeah. So, I mean, those are the kind of things that made this whole trip for me worth it. People like that, people like the coaches I had, like Bob and Glenn and Davey Keon.
You mentioned that. Did he also play? Was World Championships? Wasn't Mariucci one of your coaches as well? I mean, you.
Mariucci. Yeah. So, I mean,
I mean,
that kind of stuff, I mean, yeah. And that's another thing. I mean, you represent your country, I mean, now it's like, that's number one. You do that. But when I was playing, it was like the world championships were, let's just go play, because they weren't going to win, because of the Europeans. And I mean, and I played in a couple. I probably could have played in a few more, but I just didn't think it wasn't part of it wasn't part of me. I was just a range kid that wanted to get home and have a good time and, see my buddies and play baseball, so all that stuff. But I mean, I respected, I'm glad I did it. I'm glad I had a chance to play. I did a couple of stupid things along the way, but that's okay.
well, yeah, right. I mean, that's part of
I
our life.
just,
We learn from those. But
it's just
I know
another.
we want to wind down here. I know, but there's a few other things too. You played in the minors a little bit too, and there's a few, tough guys. And I know one year you played with Nashville Stars because you're part of the Stars. Archie Henderson, can you tell me a little bit about him real quick, just before, because I mean, that guy he could throw him, right? He could throw him. He was one of the best. He played with Carlson, and those guys too, and Hanson's and that. But I saw Archie Henderson, like that guy. I remember him and some of the interviews and hearing him talk. Can you talk
Archie,
about that? Because that was,
he should have been the mayor of Nashville that year we played there. I'm telling you, they loved him there, and they loved him wherever he went, because that's what he'd do. He'd fight. But he was a good kibitzer. He could make you laugh. I mean, he was just a big, funny guy. I mean, and he could fight, and he'd pick his spots. Well, what the hell? Everybody did. But I mean, he was a politician. He'd talk to everybody. He could have been the mayor of Nashville if he wanted to. And then he bought one of them. I don't know what the hell the name of that car is. Still can't remember. Every time I go to tell somebody about that car, I forget the name of it. The 250Z or 2Zip. I don't know. It was a small little sports car. Small.
sure.
It was 2-seater, and his wife was tiny. And there's Archie at 6 foot, whatever the heck he was, right? And when he tried to get in the car, it took him 15 or 20 minutes. And then I watched him get in. I said, "Why didn't you get a big truck or a car?" No, he got in that thing. I think it was it a 240Z or something? I don't know what the hell, man. But
It reminds me of the scene in Mike. It reminds me of the scene in Slapshot where the guy's waking up from a coma. I can remember. He goes, "Wow, we sold yours. He's had 28. The old, because that's probably what it was. The big Z28, the 2-seater, the old fancy. I could just see a guy like him, big guy like that, trying to get. It's a car made for me or you, small guys. But hey,
yeah.
Let's start winding down here. I know you got to get going. I apologize. A little glitch there with the
What
internet.
time am I playing today? I got to see. Hold on 1 second. Go ahead, talk. I'm listening.
I was going to say, you got into after playing days. How did you end up getting in it? You coached a little bit. I saw you coached at Cathedral. Is that right? You coached high school for 1 year and then went on to, assistant in a few teams. Then you really, really got into scouting.
I coached 2 years of high school hockey. Once at St. Agnes High School, and then I was at Cathedral in St. Cloud. And I got into scouting because when I retired, I called Glenn and asked him, what was going on, and Central Scouting was available at that time. So I got a job with Central Scouting. Dave Gregory, or Jim Gregory, gave me a job. He just interviewed me on the phone. And then I scouted part-time for them. Then I went to Winnipeg for a little while. And then I was with St. Louis for almost 20 years, and then Columbus for almost 8. So enjoyed every minute of it. Enjoyed watching all the great players in Minnesota. fought for all of them because I love the Minnesota guys. Got to meet a lot of them along the way, which was really good, fun to do. And saw a lot of great players, got to meet a lot of great players, get to watch them now. I've been blessed. I've been blessed in the game of hockey, and scouting was part of that. And a lot of great guys out there that were ex-players and ex-managers and stuff, but a lot of good trips, a lot of funny ones. Went to Russia a couple of times behind the curtain, checked. So all that stuff, traveled the world, and here I am, Coleraine, Minnesota, right where I
Back
belong.
home. So, yeah. What time's the tea time? Is it 11:30? What time you got tea time?
11:50. So I got a little bit of time.
Okay, good. Because I apologize. Like I said, I apologize for the little glitch in the beginning, trying to figure out that video, so we missed that. But so, of all of the scouting, when you scouted, is there one key player, one player that comes to mind? And say, God, I'm really glad I got that guy. He was part of my scouting career that I brought into the team. Is there one there, any memories of certain players that, what, he was part of my deal? Anybody comes to mind?
One guy, TJ Oshie. First time I saw him, to the last time I saw him, to the last time I saw him a month ago. He's to me, he's what hockey's all about. He went through stuff. He battled. He was a great player. He worked. He competed. Everything you want in a player, and I just loved him. He's one guy I'd love to play with, really. And then there were a lot of great Minnesota players, but this guy for me is special. And you can see him now on TV and what he's doing and stuff like he's got compassion and love for the game and people, and he's the old school. He's old school, and I'm hoping I get the chance to see him this next month in War Road. They got a celebrity golf tournament up there, so I'm hoping he shows up. So he's the one for me.
You mentioned Osh's name, and I coached a little bit down here in Winona, and there's a player that Bob Antonovich's name. He played on the team with him when they won the state tournament back in Laurel. Yeah. And he said the exact same. He's a great, the epitome of the perfect teammate and a leader, because he'd take everybody under his wing, and man, when you mention his name, like, wow, that says a lot about his character and as a player and a person. And I'm glad I asked you that question, because I would never known, but Osh was a heck of a player back in his day and just a good person. And hopefully I can get him on someday too, as well as interview this, tell his story. But yeah. So I know, and I'm sure he'd be a good, he's from the evil neighbor down the road, as they call World, but I joke about that because there's been some great players over there. And anything else? I mean, we could continue on, but I know you got to get ready and get over to the links. By the way, hit him straight, stay out of the rhubarb, as I say. There's always one rule for golf I ever was good at. It says, keep your head down, keep your goal down, head down. I could never do that. I'd be the guy driving the beer cart instead of sitting swinging the club, because I wasn't a very good golfer. But I digress. But so of all the things and all the years of hockey and playing, and from the minors to the pros to the NHL, you played a little bit with the Devils too. What sticks out the most as far as, is there one? I mean, there's so many memories, but is there anything you want to bring up that I didn't bring up here for you? Because there's so much we could talk about that. I always forget after. I've got to do my best Columbo and say, another question. What else comes to mind, Mike, that you'd like to just throw out there?
Well, I still go right back. I said, we won the state tournament that first year with the buddies, and there was nothing like that. And I'll never forget that as long as I live. And a lot of things I've done since then, and met a lot of great people. Those guys that I line up with in those two state tournaments, nothing can compare for me. High school hockey has been and always will be a number one for me.
Yeah, this experience, and there's nowadays your kids leaving. I mean, they may not make it, but some kids stay around and they want to win a title, and that's what that Chicago was drafted by the Blackhawks. I believe the kid from Edina, West kid, stuck around, won a title. Always playing juniors, but you just don't get those years back. I mean, you look back and say, "Wow, just memories." I never played in the state tournament. I was one of the last guys cut on the team in '84 when we took Constellation, but I have some great memories of playing high school hockey because that was my happy place. And it still is today, the ice arena. So
Yeah.
I will leave it with this because I always ask Mike, everybody I talk to, if I was a young athlete that came up to Mike Antonovich, and I said, Mr. Antonovich, what advice would you give to me as a young athlete? It could be, baseball player, football, hockey, whatever, but just in general, because we're all, as young athletes, they always aspire to want to go to that next level, whether it be juniors or college or pro or whatever it be. What advice would you give a young athlete? Knowing now after the years of playing that you did and scouting and coaching, what would you tell that person?
Well, the most important thing is it's just a game. Play the game hard, compete, but when the game is over, it's over. Don't take it with you. You don't have to. I mean, play for the love of the game, and whenever it ends, it ends. I just, the young players are in such a hurry for what? My friends are here. Been friends my whole life with, played hockey with. Uh, I wouldn't trade that for anything. Nothing. Not one goal, not $1 million, nothing. It's where I belong.
I mean, I appreciate the thoughts and you working with me today through this. So I had a little glitch in the beginning, so it is what it is. But Mike, I can't thank you enough for taking a few minutes to talk with me today about hockey, growing up and on the range and winning a couple titles, its experiences you had. It's been a pleasure, and I hope to do more of these. And you're part of hockey history in the state of Minnesota, and I'm very pleased. And it's been my absolute pleasure to be able to talk to you about it today. And hopefully, we can keep in touch and cross paths sometime down the road. I hope to do more of these, and we'll just leave it at that. So,
Yeah. Well,
yeah,
keep
no,
doing
any
it.
last thought? And
Keep
no,
doing it.
I plan on,
It's
I plan on
important.
doing it.
It's important that
If anybody,
people know, and that's the thing.
yeah, you know what?
Yeah,
If there's
it's just,
anybody on the range that you want me to talk to, you point them out, and I'd love to talk to them because these stories need to be told because we're not getting any younger. And
no,
I think
no.
those that like yourself that came before a lot of these young guys, they have to look back and I'm playing the game today because of guys like you. You started it all.
Yeah,
In high
yeah,
school
whoever
hockey.
starts, yeah, right. Don't stop doing it. It's worth it. It's worth doing it. And thank you for asking me because I don't do this very often. I don't talk about too many things, but Minnesota hockey and Minnesota people are the best.
Well, I appreciate it, Mike Antonovich. Thanks again for time today. I'm gonna let you go. And so
Okay,
long, everybody.
thanks, Sid. Thanks for
You bet.